There's no cough button that could handle your cough.
Yeah.
You could be in Wisconsin and there'd be just a little rumble of that
Just
cough.
put a C in front of the off button. That's my cough button.
Dude.
Well, I got a little bit of a headache today, man.
You do?
Did not sleep well. The old lady, lots of snoring last night.
Oh, she was the snorer. Huh?
Yeah, and for whatever reason, it felt like super humid. We're sleeping on an air mattress. It was like a bad day at summer camp.
Sleep on an air mattress.
Yeah. On our days off, we like to hang out at the house, the new place.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so cute.
Mm-hmm. We take the dog out there and everything.
And you didn't have your bed set up yet.
Well, no, we're going to have professionals move that stuff.
I see. Keeping your same bed.
I think we're actually going to. I don't know. We might keep the same mattress, but I think we're going to get some bed with some drawers underneath it. Our bedrooms are woefully small.
Oh,
Yeah, you can't get everything.
can't always get what you want.
Not at our station.
In the morning with Doug and John. Hey, we hit a note there.
Yeah.
I've never hit a note before. Hey, good morning, all.
Hey, Doug, you ever have like a pair of pants that you just felt like your fly was perpetually open?
I've had a pair of pants that my fly was perpetually open.
Yeah.
For whatever
Yeah. No,
reason.
this is like a faux fly opening experience, though. You're like, boy, I just feel a little freer down there than, and you.
Oh, it's just roomy.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, good morning, everybody.
You were just asking. It was just a bit you were running, or do you have a?
No,
do you have
these pair of pants I got, and I got them on clearance, and so I wonder if that's one of the reasons why they were on clearance is because that maybe
They run a little. Oh yeah, I can see it. There's and that's very Seinfeld. Yeah, there's a big bunch of material there.
Indeed,
It's literally that bit.
That's right.
Yeah, from Seinfeld.
But I wonder, do women have that? Like, do they?
Well,
Like
every time like two guys talking about what women experience
I
comes
feel like
up,
my boob is hanging out or something.
I want nothing to do with that conversation. But I do think that
That's wise.
I do think that many women will say, you gentlemen have no idea how difficult it is to pick clothing and to find jeans or pants that fit right. It's just immeasurably more complicated.
Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, more than 5 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, and they, and my experience is, they always look better on women too. Almost any pair of pants than on a guy. And not just because I think women look better, I do, but I just think generally speaking, maybe it's because I buy lower fashion leveled clothes. Always looks better on women.
Yeah.
Women can just wear everything better than men.
Well, we've talked about
I think
that.
their bodies are better suited.
where women can wear a matching top and bottom jumpsuit.
Oh,
but
what I wouldn't give.
Men. Well, I mean,
guys like me cannot pull that off.
No,
too tall.
That's a lot of velour.
Too matchy. I was the other day. I was wearing a plaid shirt. Many levels of plaid, I think, with an orange hue.
But there's some pink in it.
Orange,
okay,
the new pink. And I happened to, I'd packed that in a bag and then was changing clothes after a exercise workout. So I had not remembered in the morning what shirt I'd packed in the bag because I don't remember these things. And then I chose an Apple Watch band that happens to have the same style to it. It's this striped orange watch band. And when I put the shirt on, all of a sudden I was matchy with my own watch band.
Nice. That's like next level accessorizing.
Oh yeah. I had this very feeling. So I went to a place that I go almost every Tuesday to have breakfast. And Katie, this is a place over at Sun Street Breads where people should go. Martin, that's a sponsorship. That's a sponsorship plea. But you should go there. It's fantastic. Top bakery in the world. And Katie, who I've known for a number of years there, is fantastic. She goes, "Oh, I love how your watch band matches." And that was the moment it dawned, that it really dawned on me that this was like I noticed it, but I thought I don't know that anyone else will. Oh no, it was instantaneous. And I said to her, "Am I reaching the age where that old men reach, where it's kind of adorable that they, that they've decided to think about their outfits and are matching?"
Yeah.
And she had a great line. She said, "Oh, I didn't say it was adorable."
Oh, yeah, it's never
just
adorable.
Just a great
it's
line.
a little sad.
I didn't say it was adorable. Yeah, well, hey, good to be back in the studio with you after a couple of weeks doing this thing on the road.
Doug, there's more technology in this 6 square foot area here than was in the moon landing.
Yeah, this is, that's probably true. There probably is more with the levels of, like, at some point we should show someone what this studio, we show people what this studio looks like. But we were able to pull it off from the road. I mean, my heavy breathing was a problem in my microphone.
Well, it's always a problem for me. I think that's what people will be like. The guy's just always huffing out of his nose into his mic.
You're a heavy breather.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, you're a nose
I'm
breather.
I'm not a mic pro like you.
Well, I felt like a non-mic pro, but it's good to be back in the studio. Mm-hmm. And the last time we chatted, you updated people on your job just because it was interesting, and something has changed in that.
That is kind of ironic, but that you would ask me about my job.
I think it's the power of this show. We speak things into reality. This is like our own version of name it and claim it.
Right.
Of Esther
what was
Perel.
The answer? What was that called?
The Secret.
The Secret. Right.
The Secret. We've things that we manifest here come true in reality. Huh? That's our shtick, John. We're not just a couple of middle-aged guys, later middle-aged guys wasting time.
We're also a couple of middle-aged charlatans.
We're pitching a story here.
Well, so it was in process when we talked about it last week, but I had applied for this other position at work. That's quite a nice promotion and really a gig that's more well suited for me. And I got it. I just found out last Monday that I got this peach job.
Fantastic.
Training radiologists how to do this teleradiology business.
I mean, that in and of itself, John Musick is the trainer for radiologists in a teleradiology.
Right, those that know me are like the fucking wheels have come off.
Yeah, they're
the world.
Yeah, right. They're like, okay, Donald Trump is president,
right,
and John Musick is training radiologists.
That's right.
What has happened?
All over the country, people are suddenly like reevaluating their health and going, I don't want to make sure. Right?
No, I think people all over the country are saying all things are possible.
Oh,
all the boundaries that we have put on ourselves. You are a living example.
Speaking of which, can you fill in while I?
Yeah, I'd be glad to fill in.
All right.
Yeah. While you look something up.
That's correct.
Is it on this topic or is it on?
It
another?
is on this topic.
Okay.
If we could bear on this.
Yeah. Well, let's hang in there on this topic because while you feel free to look. I'll just talk as if you're listening to. Are you ready?
No, I'm not ready.
Okay. While you got the dream job of a lifetime, my dream job flashed before my eyes and was snatched away with the brutality of a alligator.
Oh my gosh! Tell me
I
this.
kind of lost my metaphor in there.
Well, that's all right.
Well, so I've had this sense that I should that my religious commitments and leadership is for the common good, not just for the sectarian good. Right? That's been one of my things all along. That's why I stay in Christianity. That's why it's interesting to me. And I have my theory, right, which I've run down on this show before about the personal, the business, the nonprofit, and the politics is the largest stream. So one of the things I've thought, you know what I would like to do? I would like to be a congressman someday. I don't think I can be the president of the United States.
Okay.
Not because of my birthright, not because of my age, not because of my allegiance to the good people of this country, but because of my view of the military, right? I just think ultimately when I run for the presidency.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. It's technology. It's a kid's thing. I couldn't be the president, right? Pretty sure of that. But I thought maybe I could be a congressman. But you have to be elected based on where you live.
Right.
It's kind of unfair, but it's our rules. So
I can't help it. I live around these knuckleheads.
Yeah, the congressional district you live in is the place you'd have to be a congressperson, or if you ran for state senate, it has to be in the, you're supposed to be a citizen representative, so you have to live in the district, which has meant for the last number of years that Keith Ellison,
that whole representative government nonsense.
Yeah, that's killing me. It's killing me. Well, Keith Ellison is the congressperson for the district that I live in, and I support Keith Ellison. I would run in the same party as Keith Ellison. I think Keith Ellison is doing a grand job. I can't run against him with any chance of winning,
right,
or with any good conscience, right? So it's sort of been out of reach.
Yeah.
Well, back in January, there were some rumors that because Senator Franken had resigned in Minnesota, that they were maybe going to appoint maybe Keith Ellison to that position, and that would open up his seat. And I started thinking and talking like maybe this is a shot.
Yeah.
I could make one shot, one run, and then maybe, if I don't win, I could make another run, like this kind of thing. Start putting a plan together.
Yeah.
Well, then it turns out they don't appoint Keith Ellison, so he stays in his position. Then Keith Ellison starts talking about maybe he wants to run for attorney general.
That's right.
And leave his seat. And here it comes again. Maybe there's a possibility. No, then that goes away. He decides, no, I'm going to stay in my seat because the person who's the attorney general is going to stay in. She's going to rerun for her role. Then, the other day, on the day when you have to declare your candidacy for an office, that morning, Keith Ellison says, I'm not going to run for re-election. I'm going to run for attorney general, and my seat's now open, and I'm driving in my car on Highway 36. I'm like, I can't fill those forms out today.
You go with like 6 hours to...
Yes. To get the forms filled out and get down to the... And I find out about this later in the afternoon because I was in a bunch of meetings all day, not refreshing my news feed. And so I'm literally pulled over on this little side road, and I'm looking up, is there a way can you register online? Is there something you can do? But no, you have to print off a thing, take it down to the Secretary of State's office and fill it out and have it notarized. And I'm like, there's just literally no way I can physically get from where I am to anywhere with a printer and back downtown. Snatched away. It was right there.
Well,
now, I should have had that.
We're going to watch that race and that winner with an eag's eye from here on out.
I sure am. Yeah,
that's your stolen. That's your stolen candidacy.
I should. So anyway, it was a little flash, and I thought better of it, and thought, look, I'm doing other good things right now. I can't be running for Congress at this point. I'm not prepared. But it was just that little flash. It's like that person, that broken-hearted person whose high school love interest popped back into their life in this one moment where
walks away with the class bully
again.
Yeah. Well. Sorry to hear about your loss, but
but
I got a great sweet gig. So
you always win.
Listen, so I had posted this on something or another, and people were giving me thumbs up. Hey, I got the job and whatever. And so this was one of the congratulatory comments that I received. It goes, "Well done, John. Your brains and wit work in most situations, and to your advantage this time."
Wow. Well, your mother, how kind of her.
Your wife.
Was it my wife?
Yes. Is that not the most Enneagram 6 compliment ever?
That is great.
You kind of lucked out this time.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, even a stopped clock, John. It's right twice a day. Yeah, that wit of yours has got to pay off at some point. There's no way for 51 years you could be running that wit and have it not pay off in your 50 seconds.
It was almost like it was created by like a Complu dig generator.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so good. That is so good. Well, congratulations.
And most was in quotes as well.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, And this show we do in the morning, Doug and John, and that's partly because both of our schedules allow for that. Because currently you take care of radiologists and their important work overnights, but that's changing. So something might be changing on the timing of this show.
Yeah, if you guys have any feedback to that, we'd love to hear it. I mean, we're going to do what we going to do it anyway, but
yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback just so we know you're interested. All right. Hey, John, anything else going on in the world that you think should inspire the good people?
Well, I don't know if it's inspiring or not, but sometimes having the final word can feel pretty good, I think, for some people. And I don't know if you've heard about this siblings. Let me grab my materials. There's this Jay Dimlow and Gina Dimlow. Jay is 58 and Gina is 60. They're originally from Minnesota.
The Dimlows.
The Dimlows, yeah. But what happened with them is that when they were like 6 or 7 years old, their mother ended up having an affair with their uncle. Left the family and went to California and lived the rest of their lives, leaving the two kids to be kind of passed around amongst the family.
At what age
in Minnesota?
Were they?
There's about around like 6 and 9, something like that.
Yeah. Youngsters.
Yeah, very, very young. And but they actually had the recently the mother passed away, and they were able to put forth a obituary.
Uh-huh.
And let's see if I can
see where this is going.
See if I can find this here. But basically, because they knew that she was dying, and so they basically said, in the obituary has so and so Dimlow, knee whatever died on this date and on March 7th, 1967, she had a child with her uncle. This is in the obituary, and abandoned her children to live her life in California, and said that the world will be a much better place without her.
They used the obituary to get back to
deliver the final, the final say. And it sounds like from these people, I had like a really kind of rough, very Appalachian childhood. It sounds like, and I think they, really, give their mom credit for all their hardship that they had.
Yeah, yeah.
There's this one story that says that the mom only came back and visited twice, and the one time she came back from California and visited, she was showing pictures because she had 2 other children out in California with the uncle.
Oh, boy.
And was showing pictures of the kids playing on the beach and stuff. And her 2 original children are like right there watching this slideshow happening.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind, that's the kind of thing that for parent and adult alike sort of strikes that fear in you, right? That someday someday at your obituary, someone's gonna
your life's effort is gonna end up just being slammed by your kids.
They're all good. You're at some point you're all going to be outed. I mean, it's really the great fear, isn't it, for all of us, is that somehow people think they're a fraud and they're going to get outed. That feeling I've come to find out as an adult, that is persistent in people. This feeling I don't belong, I shouldn't be, almost to any degree of accomplishment, doesn't extinguish that tendency to have that feeling.
And probably, made, all the more complicated by, the poverty and, their life situation of being, raised by their grandparents and kind of passed around to relatives. And at one point, so it's like, when the mother came back, he's like, that's when I knew I had to get the hell out of Minnesota. Minnesota, just get away from these people. So,
hey, I got a couple of Trump things.
Okay. But there's so much.
But this time, a little identifying with Trump.
It's there.
Partly because he commuted the sentence of Alice Marie Johnson.
Yes.
Speaking of the stop clock is right twice a day theory, at least in American timekeeping if you're not on that military time, and then it's only right once a day. He commuted the sentence of this convicted drug peddler, apparently, from 20 plus years ago. That was clearly too high, too extreme of a punishment.
Oh, intense, yeah.
So, like, good for him. I hope it keeps going. I hope he sort of clears the jails of all the people whose drug offenses have been
that would be
overpunished.
ironic.
Wouldn't that really be something that he becomes that guy? Because based on his theory, what she did, she's paid enough time for. That opens that up to a huge number of people,
sure,
who have already overpaid. There's a little rebate due to some of these people. I think there's been some overpayments done, and so good for him on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he steals my joke about Canadians.
How so?
But he thinks it's serious. Well, there's still a joke that I've said for years when I meet a Canadian. Like, a little later we can talk about you burning the White House. Right. The War of 1812, which wasn't the Canadians. It was the British out of Canada before they sort of allowed Canada to be its own country still under the Queen with a negotiated deal. But it's sort of a little, it's
with an option to buy later.
Yeah, totally. It's a joke you make. Like when you make the "Hey Canadians, we can talk about the time you burned the White House." That's funny because it's meant to be playful on the ignorance of the fact that it wasn't the Canadians.
Right.
And there was this it's a punchline that is only funny because it's showing that some people don't understand this. And apparently Donald Trump said to the Prime Minister of Canada, when the Prime Minister of Canada tried to say, Canada is not an enemy or a threat to the United States. And he said, well, didn't you people burn our White House in 1812? Which actually, no, it was the British. The fact that that's not, now maybe Donald was just being quippy funny in that same sort of way. Like, well, I know you're not a threat, but you still got to apologize for that because, we all know. Like, just sort of being corny. It's a corny, ignorant joke. That's the whole point of it. Which isn't even that funny of a joke, but it's cute. I think he meant it. And apparently the people who record his conversations, because that's how this stuff gets leaked out, people are like, someone's listening in, like some teleoperator scribing all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, he just said that.
Yeah.
I think he thinks that Canada and the U.S. have an unresolved war conflict that goes back to before Canada was a country.
Right, like he's going to start demanding reparations for the reconstruction of the White House. I'm going to use the Canadian money from the reconstruction of the White House to build that wall.
It's just simply incredible. He started a bit of a trade conflict. It might not be to the level of a war, but it's clearly a trade conflict with Canada, and then brings up it's truly incredible.
So much of this stuff. Has illuminated. I mean, I've always was a fan of The West Wing, and it's just looking at a Hollywood version of what happens in the White House or whatever, and the office of the president, all that stuff was always fascinating to me. But I've never really understood the importance of all of the working parts. All of the people, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of fat that needs to be trimmed, but there's a reason why those people exist so that things like this trade thing, should have been researched. It would be motivated out of, the economists and whatnot, the experts who view that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
This seems so much more like, hey, Donald Trump looks at a ledger sheet and goes, hey, this number is higher than this number. I need to equal that, not realizing,
Yeah.
And along with the North Korean talks that are underway, that old diplomats are like, well, we don't really know what's the end game here. Usually there would have been months and months of meetings hammering out before you'd have the two heads of state come together.
Any president since 1954 could have met with the leader of North Korea if they were willing to give a meeting of the leader of North Korea access to the president without negotiating ahead of time the terms.
Yeah.
He's literally saying no one's ever pulled this off before. It's because the other president said we won't do that thing.
Yeah.
He has not accomplished something that others couldn't accomplish. He has diminished the requirement of the meeting to a point that no one else would diminish the meeting, the requirement of the meeting to.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. And honestly, this is, I mean, I've been an anti-Trump guy the whole time, but it is worse on almost every measure of this kind of thing, that he has diminished the demand and the response and the relationship with other countries. He's lowered this one and then is in a fight with Trudeau of Canada. It's just so unbelievable. And to your point about these tariffs, right? Just to nerd out for a minute, the tariffs are. It's not even that he looked at a balance sheet. He just talked to a guy named Wilbur Ross and some other people who said, "Hey, you know what? I know a lot about the steel industry because that's where I've made all my money, and it would do well for some of our industries if we had a certain kind of trade change." Okay. He's not even operating, to your point, out of like a theory of the economy or out of this is my own personal conviction. He's just moved by whomever speaks to him at some given point, and then gets out over his skis. And when he falls down, he's like, no, I was just laying down. Like, he's unwilling to ever say, yeah, that was something I don't want to do. He just doubles down and doubles down over and over on mistakes that he makes. He is like the example of the kind of leader. I think we're going to look back and he's just going to be the quintessential example of a leader that's made mistake after mistake because he can't deal with his mistakes.
And it seems like he's also kind of attracted to creating his own drama. Like, for instance, the Dreamers, the whole DACA thing.
Yeah.
Like he created that crisis.
That's right.
Like, it was going along fine, but he's like, no, I'm gonna stop, gonna expel all of these people.
Right.
I'd be willing to change my mind if you can come up with a different plan. And it's like, we had a plan there.
Yes.
It was working. It was working fine. With the whole wall and the immigration thing, that's a self-generated issue that he's created. Now we're suddenly having to chaotically figure out what to do with.
It reminds me of, we ended up remodeling our kitchen partly because I wanted to change out our sink faucet. And I got in the middle of that thing and started ripping everything apart. And I wanted a different look. Okay, we ended up with a whole new kitchen because
there is a faucet ad. It has this, there's this gleaming white building, this couple walking into this building. It's all glass on the inside. It's an architectural firm. She sets a faucet down on the counter and she goes, build us a house around that. That's what you did.
Well, we ended up building a whole kitchen because
Is it that faucet that's up there now?
It's a faucet. Well, no, that faucet's the new one. Now 10 or 12 years old, 14 years old. But
it's a nice faucet.
But to your point about it was a self-inflicted crisis.
Right.
I started ripping things apart, and then it's like, okay, now that this thing's so torn apart, we've got to fix all the rest of these things around it. It wasn't ideal, it wasn't perfect, but we may not have been ready for that. And this is the thing that I think the lack of impulse control in Donald J. Trump, the president of these United States, just operates in all the time. He just fires the weird, and it's the most odd things to be taking on.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even like we're going to deal with the opioid crisis and I'm just laser locked on solving that problem. I am really concerned about re-education of people in certain parts of the country. I'm super concerned that there's some kind of inequalities that are built into the system, and they're like steel tariffs and conversations with this person and a random commutation or pardon of someone. Just no rhyme or reason, seemingly, other than maybe to discredit the value of the federal government. The only thing I can sort of wrap my head around from all of his appointments and all this to his cabinet positions and all of his deliberate actions is he just thinks it would be better if the government, like other Republicans ran on, which was the point you brought up, can we make this more efficient? Can we make this work better? Can we somehow squeeze out the waste? What can we do to improve this system? Donald Trump, because I think he's supported by a lot of backers who don't want the federal government to be powerful, effective, and streamlined. They want it to be diminished and done away with as much as possible. They come from this libertarian view that says the smallest federal government that we need at any given point is just slightly too much. Right? That sort of impulse. So we'll have to have it, but let's always remember it's still a little too much.
When you look through like the history of presidents, you know, you will, as being a kid, you know, learning this stuff, you learn that, well, this person was a weak president. And then this presidency had like a strong Congress or something like that. That there were like different roles that the president could play. But in my modern history from Carter on, really, you know, it seems like it's been pretty balanced. Been a balance. Who knows? I was a kid for a lot of that, you know. So the thought of the role of the presidency or the federal government, you know, being diminished and changed, like that could happen in my lifetime or within a presidency, like in the past with, I don't know, you know, Grover Cleveland or some other, you know, president of antiquity. You're like, boy, could that be possible? That, you know,
there were times when we could have made those decisions.
Yeah,
but other decisions have been made about the function and role of the federal government.
Right.
Many of them in our lifetime, which, as said, we need I'm on the side, so this is how I see the world. We need a stronger federal government on a whole lot of issues that it's not being strong enough on, to create a sense of national unification and accomplishment. And I think the federal government should be a powerful force in our country. It's not about how big or how small. It's about does it have enough power and force in particular areas. The environment's a perfectly good example of that, or hiring practices, or the enforcement of laws, or our military and how much we're going to deploy. These are all things you want that world to work well.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump just seems to not think about or care about such things. And then he's just, I'll just rant for another bit. He's so petty. Like this thing about saying to the Minnesota Lynx, the 4-time women's NBA champions, you don't get invited to the White House because of the things that your players think about me. Or some of the Philadelphia Eagles, the people that play for those football teams. You're all disinvited because some of you weren't going to come. Or to say to the leaders of the largest Muslim American group for the iftar meal last night, you're not even going to be invited because I know some of you will say no to coming. Like it is so junior high. It's not even sophomoric. It's junior high. Who are you going to invite to your party?
You went to Billy's party, so I'm not going to invite you to mine because I don't get along with Billy.
Yeah, it's like somebody's passing notes around. He likes you. She doesn't like him. How do we do it? The level of work that this guy has to put in to keep track of all the people who don't care for him and like him. So, he did this thing the other day with the Philadelphia Eagles, didn't invite them, and instead had a sing-along with some of the choirs from the military. Mm-hmm. Did you see this headline?
No.
The headline, Trump fumbles the lyrics to God Bless America. So there's video footage, and they're standing out there with the military bands, and they're singing God Bless America. He clearly doesn't know the words, which... fair enough. I'm not sure I could sing all the words to God Bless America. But if I was the president and I was going out to be on here's a guy who worries so much about his appearance and his look. Did you see the video of him taking the water bottle off of the table?
No.
No. That was a beautiful one. They're at a long table. He's sitting next to Melania, and the meeting at this kind of rectangle table with him at the head, and then next to him on the perpendicular table is Mike Pence, and then next to the president is Melania Trump, and behind it is the work that they're doing to rebuild Puerto Rico. Okay, so they're having a meeting about this. His failure to care for the people of Puerto Rico and their country, as he once referred to it. He's unbelievable. Doesn't even understand. But so they're at this meeting, and at some point he realizes that there's a water bottle sitting in front of him. So he takes the water bottle and puts it on the floor. Mike Pence, sitting next to him, sees it happening and instantaneously takes his water bottle and puts it on the floor.
Oh, my gosh.
And then Trump moves his napkin, and then Pence moves his napkin, like these two little parrot, this little parrot of Trump. So the whole point being, what he was thinking about while sitting in this meeting is, there's a camera over there. Here's the camera angle at me.
Yeah.
They're going to see this water bottle. Now, why he doesn't want a water bottle to be there, if he didn't want it in the shot or didn't want people to
thirsty,
think that he's
Puerto Ricans
that he's thirsty, or he didn't want to be but he's attentive to a paralyzing level of this sort of thing, and then doesn't brief himself up on the lyrics to God Bless America so he can stand there and sing as the proud president of this military that he has to show we will stand with them, and those Philadelphia Eagles that wouldn't stand during the national anthem, they're not the kind of people we're going to let come to this White House and be celebrated because we support the military. Just didn't know the words. The irony of it, the Alanis Morissette kind of, it's ironic, is just truly, it's incredible. And this is the thing I think for a lot of people who don't, and anybody listening to this, they're probably not paying attention to these kinds of details at this level, right? And someone could say, and someone did say to me the other day, I wonder if the level of attention that we pay to all this stuff with Trump, what if he did that to other presidents? Is he in the norm?
Yeah.
Well, the people who do pay attention to this stuff, they all say, nope, he's nowhere close to the norm. It is so far out of the norm. It's almost impossible to understand.
And I think it's the chaos that he brings that is so unsettling for me. It would be one thing if we had a sense, that lurking behind that facade is an Elon Musk Rain Man who has a master plan, who's just going about things his own way, but there's just no sense that
he's an iconoclast of some kind, and he's a genius.
No, he's just he's the worst.
But the good news is he was elected the president, which reminds all of us this is a citizenry government, and if the registering for public office deadline is not snatched from your wanting hands at the last moment, I think everybody listening in 2020 should register to run for the president of the United States. Everybody should run. And then you can drop out and throw your support behind the person you're going to vote for. But all of us should say, I would be a better president than that guy. Every one of us should register to vote. It's free. You can just go on to the registertovote.gov, whatever website it is, and register as a candidate. Getting on the ballot in every state is a much more difficult thing, but everyone can register to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States at the federal level, and we should all be engaging in presidential conversations and debates, and then throw our weight behind it and say, I would be a better president, you would be a better president. Who would be a better president? Any one of us.
Now, there's a plus or minus on your resume, former candidate for the president of the United States. Now, that's either going to put you over the edge or lock you out.
Depending on what kind of job you want.
That's right.
That would be the one. All right. Cleansing breath from Donald J. Trump. But I think I like talking about it a lot, and I like talking about it every week because it's we live in the
cathartic.
It is cathartic. It is. And it's also, we live in the most important political time in our lifetime. And we were born in a period when 1968 was happening. And this, I really do believe, politically, not just socially. I think other times have had more powerful social movements. But the political age that we're in, the collective sense of us being a nation that's going to function in a way that nations function in relationship to one another, our laws, the rule of law, and international issues, this is the most important time. There's just, we will all look back on this and say our grandchildren will say, God, it was so easy back then. Everything was so clear. It was obvious where the problems were. And I just think some of us who care about this need to care about this so that other people who don't care about it don't have to, and they know somebody is. It's a public service announcement.
There you go.
Like you want somebody I feel good that like you are a radiologist support person that makes sure that at night if somebody has to read an X-ray, I don't want to have to worry about that. People like you, everyone worries about their thing so that other people don't have to worry about it.
Sure.
And that's just a public service that we're doing here. Hey, and I'm super excited about this project I'm involved in called Vote Common Good, which we'll be talking about more in the next couple of weeks. But we're going to tour the country with this sort of message.
Things are moving along.
Things are moving. Things are a cooking.
By the way, it's
a lot to reveal pretty soon.
It's good to see you out of that hotel room. By the way,
yeah, it was a long run. I'm freed from the bondages of the care of the Holiday Inn Express.
I was just absorbing the despair of the prior occupants of that room during that podcast.
Well, that is a thing that happens when you go into these. That for me, at least, when I go into these hotel rooms, is I tend to think like, okay, 24 hours ago, 72 hours ago, maybe 4 hours ago, somebody else was living their life right here. Their bag was sitting there. They were sitting on that toilet. Their feet were in that shower.
Yeah.
They have different sheets probably that they were laying, but they were sitting on that chair. They were grabbing that remote control. You're just like, you're right inside of all that vibe. And I have no idea how much human energy hangs around a room, but I swear there are times you can feel it.
You need get some sage spray or something.
Totally. Yeah. I need some feathers. I need some tradition that has a way to cleanse the space. And somebody's sitting in that hotel room right now and they're like, I don't know, there's some weird huffing mojo in here. There's some, hey, did you see this story about the Australian news crew that was shooting the live from London street story for a Australian news group?
I don't think so.
Well, while they're shooting, two guys on bicycles ride up with ski masks on and mug them and steal their camera while they're recording in London. And the other footage, because in London, everything's on like a traffic cam.
Yeah.
Like the whole place is just covered.
Yeah.
So they have this footage that you can watch of both the person who the camera is on, and then this other footage of the guys on bicycles coming up with their ski masks on. And the guy says the thing that look, I've never been robbed at threatened gunpoint. But if someone's going to walk up to you with a ski mask on and say, "Give me your camera. I have a gun in my pocket," I would want to say, I would want to believe of myself that I'm the kind of person who would say, "Really? Show me the gun. Come on, it's fair. You're already, it's not like you're walking up quietly behind someone and like no one knows I'm here. You have a ski mask on and you're telling me in front of these other people to give you my $25,000 camera. You're about to commit a felony level crime. Just let me have a peek. Let me make sure you have a gun. Like if you don't have the gun and you say, I don't have a gun.
Flash me the grip.
But I'm going to beat you. Okay, well, fair enough. I'd still give you the camera, right? Like, but that's what happened in this case. So these guys come up and the person on camera just says, "Just give him the camera." And they end up just giving him the camera and the guy's right away. And she's just shaking her head like, this is ridiculous. And then her comment later was, the crime rate in London is just outrageous. Like we're reporting on the crime rate in London and get mugged and they steal our camera.
Yeah, I read about those stories all the time. That's a very common thing where you have like two guys basically on mopeds, on Vespas, and sometimes on a motorcycle. But
these guys run pedal bikes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's they're just starting out. They're gonna graduate.
They
to
can't
that,
afford a scooter yet.
with that camera.
They got to steal their way.
Although I bet that's an easy trackable item.
Yes.
How are you going to pawn that thing? But like where they'll just drive by and will snatch people's cell phones out of their hands. There's footage of these guys pulling up outside of like a cafe, pulling open the door, snatching the laptop off someone's.
Just grab and go,
and just taking off. Yeah,
incredible.
And so the conservatives there say that part of the problem is that. There are some restrictions to what the police can do in order to prevent injury to the guys on the mopeds. Like you can't knock them down. Like I'm like, how it just, theft over.
So their argument is the police are standing right there, and if they could run them down with their car or push them over with their billy club, what do they call those clubs there? Though the bobby stick. Like them over with their bobby
I
stick.
think it's that that the thieves feel emboldened because there may be some restrictions to if they are chased to what the police are willing to do.
Hey, did you hear that Bill Gates is giving every 2018 college graduate a copy of his favorite book? Yeah. I mean, just the author's ultimate dream that some billionaire would love your book so much that he wants every graduate, 5 million people. It doesn't matter what you graduate.
Is it his book?
And as it turns out, it's not his book.
Okay, good.
No, but it is a book that when I saw this story, I did think, I'm kind of interested in that book.
It's not like Chicken Soup for the Graduating Soul.
Yeah, well, sort of. It's Hans Rawlings' Factfulness subtitle. I like books with long subtitles. Factfulness is the name of the book. 10 reasons we're wrong about the world and why things are better than you think. It's in this whole set of kind of later, 2010s. What do we call this period of time now? It's not the aughts. Is it the aughts?
I don't know. I never use that word.
Like if it's 1920s, you say back in the 20s and 30s and 40s. Mm-hmm. What do you say back in the 10s? Is this the 10s?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, anyway, in the 2010s,
I think someone just told you.
In the 2010s period of time, there's this movement of books that some of which I've read and really like that are saying things are demonstrably better on every scale than they ever have been for humanity. Mm-hmm. Like there are problems to solve, problems to fix, no doubt about it. The reason we should have confidence in solving those problems is because of all the ones we have solved till this point. So let's keep going. Let's not stop and pat ourselves on the back and rest on our laurels.
Right.
Which is an expression I do not even understand. I grew up with a girl named Laurel, and it really confused me. I didn't even know what that meant, to rest on your laurels. Like I would just picture her having to kneel down, and some guy would sit down on her back and have an afternoon rest. I don't know what it means. Do you know what it means to rest on your laurels?
I felt like a laurel was like a little crown, like in Greek times. That's that Olympians would get, that little kind of leafy thing, leafy crown thing. I thought that was a laurel.
Oh, so maybe resting it means I'm going to just be satisfied with my current crowning.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So it's a metaphorical resting. It's not some guy sitting down having an afternoon.
I don't know.
Break.
I think I'm just totally bullshitting.
In the morning with Doug and John. That's what we're doing. But so anyway, this is one of those books. So Bill Gates wants every college graduate.
It does sound like I like stuff like that. So,
factfulness. He's become a very wealthy man, the author of this book. I think he was already. But when Bill Gates decided, and it's the downloadable version. So
even better.
So you can search that online, and then you can download a free copy of the book if you're a 2018 graduate.
So the guy who's sitting back going, hell yeah, my book was once chosen as the Oprah Book of the Month.
Yeah, right. Hey, Oprah,
nothing now.
Buy one for everybody. Why don't you do that? Don't just tell people this is the book you should buy. It'll be such a little cheerleader. Be a supplier.
Well, everyone in the studio audience got one, Doug.
That is true. Did she do that? Was that actually a thing, or is that just a memory? Is that a fictional memory that she would give things to everybody in the audience?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, she gave everyone in the audience a car one time.
No, really? Did she really give them all a car?
Yeah. I mean, like they opened the doors to the back of the studio, and this giant parking lot just filled with those Oldsmobile whatevers.
That's true.
Pick your color.
Wow. I mean,
but
talk about buying your way into people's hearts.
That's great. And I think people should feel free to be generous with their money however they want to. But I'm just imagining, like, if you took 30 of the cost of 30 of those books and just gave that to one poor kid, that probably would be better than, some,
Every college graduate getting one?
maybe. Is it every college graduate or high school graduate?
College graduate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he's not wasting this on some just.
Oh, all right, never mind.
Some self promotion of a high school graduate. No. I mean, maybe I wasn't clear about that by saying graduates. Every college graduate. So I've got a little personal self help update for us. On every week I try to find a way to encourage all of us to be better by the self help gurus.
Yes,
that show up in this case in Business Insider.
Well, it's a good thing, Doug, that your subject, the source, is not like Men's Health or Cosmopolitan or something like that. You're really getting this material from these expert areas.
Experts. Well, this one comes from Ben Baran, who is, quote, a management consultant and assistant professor of management at Cleveland State University.
Okay,
and a management consultant.
God
bless all of you management consultants.
This guy sounds very accomplished, but assistant professorship is not as elusive as you think, because that probably means he's an adjunct teaching a couple classes at a university or community college, something like that.
Or at Cleveland State University.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, and if you're a professor, you're friggin' smart. Okay. Yes. I don't want to
I'm with you.
Shit on that, but I mean,
walking this very carefully. But to your point,
yes. Let's hear his tips.
All right. And because of the way Flipboard works, I have to open it in two different apps. All right. So here they are. Here are the 5 things that people do commonly that they didn't realize were embarrassing to them. Were embarrassing themselves.
Oh, this is good.
Isn't this good?
Yeah.
I mean, the headline's enough to take a guy and pull him right in.
I've known several booger eaters in my life, and yes.
Hang on, I just want to read this one. Okay, here are the 5 things that people do regularly that are actually embarrassing them and they didn't know it. Number 1, they take all the credit in the room.
Huh.
Number 2,
like with everybody else knowing, you did.
Yeah, you didn't do that. What are you talking about? Number 2, engaging in personal conflict in the work environment. Number 3,
these are not seeing very everyone knows this.
I mean, this is true of all these things. But number 3, oversharing. We don't notice that we're often oversharing on topics. Maybe talking too much, running a little too long.
Yeah.
Saying more things than you need to because it's just coming to your mind. Number 4, making assumptions based on external attributes of other. I mean, honestly, I mean, Ben Baran, is he just looking at Donald Trump and saying, "Here are the things that are embarrassing"?
Make you think
taking all the credit,
this is
engaging in personal. You think engaging in personal conflict, oversharing, making assumptions based on external attributes of another person.
Maybe Professor Ben is smarter than we think, because maybe he's trying to prevent the Trump characteristics from replicating in other places. So he's trying to nip it off at the bud here.
That's right. I think he has been nipping it off at the bud, if you know what I'm saying. And then number 5, that kind of bud. Right. Like number 5, and this is his real shot. This is his winner idea, I think. Number 5, things that are common habits that often people do and didn't know were embarrassing them. Not living by the platinum rule. Apparently, due to inflation, the golden rule has had to step up to the platinum rule.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but here's his insight. I don't know if this is original to him or if this is common business management consultant speak.
Mm-hmm.
But the platinum rule is a variation on the golden rule. And as a former religious leader, you're familiar with the golden rule. It encourages all of us to treat others as we would like to be treated. Well, if that's the golden rule, the platinum rule, he picked it up from Bill Gentry, so this is even a knockoff. says that we should treat others as they would like to be treated, not how you would like to be treated. So it's even deeper empathy. So rather than saying, oh, the golden rule is I'm going to treat you as I would want to be treated, the platinum rule is get to know another person well enough that you can treat them the way they want to be treated. Start with them and elevate them up. That's a fun little play on words.
That might be a little too intimate for most Minnesotans.
Yeah, it's probably true. And
I don't have time to figure you out. I'm
Yeah.
just going to treat you nice.
Yeah. Well, let's be careful not to take all the credit, engage in personal conflict, overshare, make assumptions. That's actually what we do the entire time on this. This is. I didn't know
When
this
you
was
said the oversharing, I'm like, yeah, I can see.
that it was personally personally embarrassing to us. Yeah, and next week I have six little things that can cause low self-esteem. This whole self-esteem thing, I mean, it is fantastic.
Six little things.
Just six
Doug,
little things.
The dirty joke that's in my head right now.
Really?
You don't even know.
I don't.
Yeah.
Is it causing you self-esteem, or are you losing your esteem?
Oh, it's not my problem.
Yeah,
Well, the six little things are the inches in your pants. That's what's causing you low self-esteem. Come on.
I didn't
You
even
need to
get
learn
it.
to rock that stuff, bro.
I didn't even get it. Oh my gosh, you're unbelievable. All right, well, that's what I've got for the day.
Hey, folks. Hey, thanks for watching. And, hey, go to our Facebook page in the morning with Doug and John at facebook.com or something like that. Just search for it. And just go ahead and just like that thing so that we can know that you're out there and so that we can communicate with those who enjoy the show without, having to, constantly use our personal
Hey, that's
platforms.
maybe we should do something where people who like that page, we run a little contest of some kind.
I would love to do something like
a self-esteem contest.
There you go. We could draw the people who like the. Do they like it now or do they subscribe? What is it on that? Do they?
When they fan if it's a fan page,
And they give it a. Anyway, if only we had someone who was a former social media consultant.
if there was only a social phonics teaching people the language of social communication.
Yeah, I can't go to the radiologist and go, I don't know.
I think they just like it. I think they do, and we're only on Facebook. We're not on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram.
No, not yet.
None of that stuff. We're just playing it straight.
Yeah.
Facebook page,
We're starting there.
and
if you have a news idea or something that you'd like to see us talk about, just go ahead and submit that. We read your comments. We love them. Let us know what you think of the show. And
what do you think we do? Is it a drawing that we do? Is it do we judge it? Do we like do we give away awards in categories like sports teams in high school where everyone's going to win an award of some variety?
Well, okay. If you want to work out the strategy right now, I think what we should do is we'll have an initial kickoff drawing of all those who like it now and who like it up into a certain time.
Okay.
Drawing, give away something kick ass. Then we could have like a monthly drawing of new people who like the page, and they could get a prize like next month who subscribes in that month.
I like it.
Yeah. And then we can even have contests where we could put a post and say, hey, we're giving away whatever. Comment on this post or like this post, and we can
like it or share it.
Yeah, like if someone says, hey, you can give this away in your show or something like that. We're like, hey, we'll do this. And people who acknowledge that post can be part of that.
You're going to manage that. You can take care of all that stuff. Both of us together? Or do we need somebody?
I'm not a strong finisher, Doug. You know that.
Maybe.
No, I could do at least that.
Maybe person number one, what they win is to be our assistant.
Win an internship.
You're the in the morning support. Mm-hmm. You're the morning coffee to this thing. All right, buddy.
All right.
Thanks,
See you, everybody.
All right, we giving anything extra to the podcast listeners, or is that it? Because once again, without checking the time, we have nailed the 58 minutes, 55 seconds.
Really?
It's incredible.
You know, it's interesting because I can feel that now. I can like feel the cycle. Like actually, when I first talked about this, I just thought this would be like a half hour. And when the first one we did was like, you know, an hour or something like that, I was like, well, that was an hour.
Yeah.
But now I can like, you know, I feel the, you know.
Yeah. I think
The
a lot
pace.
of the listeners feel that too, though.
Fucking
Like
thing over.
it's like a workout. It's like they're on the treadmill and they keep looking
another-
down. They're like, it's only been 17 minutes.
There's another hour wasted.
Oh, no matter how many times they hit the 20-second forward button,
It's just like we're at the same place.
it's just crushing them. Hey, podcast listeners, really appreciate you listening.
Yeah.
Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Give us a thumbs up and on our Facebook page, and also give us a 5-star rating on iTunes or your favorite podcast aggregator.
Yeah. Other podcasters say this. It really means a lot and helps a lot. I'm not sure why or how, but
Yeah.
it must. So
It
I will
must.
say it because they say it.
Yeah, well,
It means a lot.
yeah. Who's going to want to sponsor some 2-star Danky show?
Hey, and Doug and John in the Morning is made possible for all of you with the help of Doug and John.
Yeah, 5-star that
All
shit.
alone. Like when you hear those other podcasts list off the 13 people that help,
Right,
you
right.
should build that into your star rating. You had 11 employees, and this is what you gave us?
Right, exactly.
Doug and John in the
That's
Morning pulled
quality.
that off with 2 guys.
It's got to be 5 stars for effort.
We get bonuses.
5 stars for failure.
You have to take your number and then divide it by the number of employees.
There you go.
That should be our new thing. We're just all alone out here. A couple of guys on an island.
So you podcasters get all this free stuff.
See what you get for free? Go over to Patreon and subscribe to my Patreon channel.
I get none of that.
Yeah.
So what?
You know what? Subscribe over there yourself. You'll have a good feeling of supporting.
You got to pay off all this gear from NASA. Shit.
Yeah, it's impressive. Mm-hmm. And free to all of you unless you decide to pay. Mm-hmm. Then it's still free to you, I guess. All right, bye. Done?
Done.